Hello, everyone, and welcome inside Upon Further Review with B-Marsh and Michael, presented as always by WinBet. Glad to be with you after another Broncos loss to the Chiefs. I wish it were under better circumstances, but yet here we are. Alongside my partner, Brandon Marshall, I'm Michael Spencer. B-Marsh, let's get right into it. What is on B-Marsh's mind today? It is presented by First Bank, banking for good. B-Marsh, what you got?
How have we not beat the Chiefs? It's 2015. It's been 6 years, 12 straight. They had a great chance on Sunday.
Yep.
They had a great chance because you neutralized Patrick Mahomes, right? They call him a homeboy. they neutralized my homeboy. And, the offense was just couldn't produce, man. So it's just tough. I don't know what's the deal. I do know what's the deal. It's Patrick Mahomes. Because Patrick Mahomes came in, and all of a sudden the Broncos could not win.
Yep.
Something needs to be done because it's no longer a rivalry.
No, it's not. Not when one team is this dominant.
Yeah.
And the Broncos are on the verge of setting a new franchise record for most losses to an opponent. I believe the record is 14 to the Raiders back in the late 60s and early 70s. Yeah. And now they're being dominated by the Chiefs. And Brandon, it's interesting that you mentioned Patrick Mahomes, because to me, what I took away from Sunday's game was that this team will not beat the Kansas City Chiefs until they get a quarterback who can win them the football game. And I'm not a Teddy hater, right? We've talked a bunch about Teddy Bridgewater on this show. I liked the move when they made it. I like what Teddy has been able to do from a leadership standpoint in certain aspects, from a collective offensive unit standpoint in certain aspects. But until the Broncos get better quarterback play, they will not beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And what's crazy is you look at what happened prior to Patrick Mahomes getting there. When the Broncos had Peyton Manning, they were the dominant ones in this rivalry. They were dominating the Chiefs. They were winning the AFC West every single year. You reverse that. Now the Chiefs have stable quarterback play, and what's happening? They're the ones that are beating the Denver Broncos every single time out. They're the ones that are winning the AFC West year after year after year. It is the most important position on the football field, and right now the Broncos do not have a guy at the quarterback spot who can win them football games, and it's part of the reason why they've lost 12 straight.
Yeah, and look, I'm and one thing about Teddy, right, is, he's more of a game manager. He's not, going to put up style points or make any crazy throws. He's just, he's almost like an Alex Smith type of guy, and that's what the Chiefs had for a long time. But they had, Alex Smith was able to string together, some pretty good wins. But Patrick Mahomes is something different. Fangio had a really good game plan on the defensive side of the ball. Mm-hmm. I think as far as offense goes, like you said, we need a quarterback. We need an elite quarterback. Elite quarterback play is hard to come by, though. So this is the most competitive the Broncos has been in what, 4 or 5 years, with Teddy Bridgewater under the helm, right? At quarterback. What, we're 500 now, and this late into the season, which hasn't been done, right? So that's still right. So we got to give Teddy Bridgewater that credit, because we haven't been this competitive in years, and so, but it's just not good enough to get us over the hump as far as being the Chiefs. Yeah,
and that, you make a good point, right? The Broncos are sitting at 6 wins. They've already won more games than they did all of last season, and I think that there's an opportunity where we're going to be sitting here at the end of the year talking about how they have 3 or 4 more wins than they did last year. But do you want to just be better than 5-11, or do you want to get over the hump and beat the Chiefs and really start competing for the AFC West? And until they get a quarterback, they're not going to be able to do that.
One step at a time, Mike.
Okay. All right. Baby steps.
We was terrible. Okay, now we're okay. And the next thing you know, I think we'll be good. I don't know, because, I think potentially Aaron Rodgers is coming to Denver. I don't want to get the hopes up for the fans, but if he comes, we're automatically a Super Bowl team. But the question is, do they keep Vic Fangio and Shermer?
Well, and I think that the next couple of weeks are going to determine what they do from a head coaching standpoint. Because if this Broncos team wins 8 or 9 games, which is actually still a realistic possibility, then you can sit there and say, okay, look, we have made improvement. Now, I think that they go to Vic and I think they say, you got to make changes in special teams and you got to make changes at quarterback, or excuse me, at offensive coordinator. And if Vic kind of rebusts that and says, well, I don't want to do that, then maybe you look at making a change at head coach. But I think there's a realistic scenario where Vic Fangio returns based on how this team plays. Now, if they go out Sunday and they lose to the Lions and then they just kind of really jam their toe the rest of the way, different story. But I think there's an opportunity there still for Vic Fangio to return as head coach.
Yeah, I'm wondering, is there a way to hire Eric Bieniemy away from the Chiefs? And I know, like, he's not, I guess he hasn't got a head coach job because they say he's not the mastermind. It's Andy Reid, and I'm agree with that. But he's learned enough, right? He knows enough. But I don't know if he'll make a lateral move. He'll probably want to be a head coach. But you got to incentivize him, give him a little bit of this, because we haven't had an innovative offense since Adam Gase.
Yeah.
To be real. And we won a Super Bowl with a basic offense, but our defense was crazy elite.
And I actually think there's an opportunity for guys who are currently on the staff, Mike Munchak, Zach Ghazzani, to maybe call plays and take the next step. And maybe those guys can bring in some of that creativeness that has certainly been lacking in that Bronco offense. We'll talk more about the game plan coming up in just a second. But Brandon, I want to talk about why this defense was so good and why they were able to slow down Patrick Mahomes. When you watched that game on Sunday night, what did you see? What were they doing that enabled them to reel in Patrick Mahomes? Because, hey, look, you hold Patrick Mahomes to less than 200 yards passing. You hold the Chiefs offense to just one offensive touchdown, which came on their first drive of the game. You're sitting there at the end of the game and looking at that like, okay, this defense did a really good job. It was just that the offense couldn't compete. So why? Why was the defense so good?
Yeah, I think the blueprint has been out there all season because that first loss they had when they lost to the Chargers, okay, and then they started losing a game. Then you saw Patrick Mahomes throwing interceptions and things wasn't going well for him. So I'm like, I think the blueprint was already out. He killed the Raiders the last time they played the Raiders because, they traditionally run that cover 3. And if you just zone drop and just wait, the receiver's going to get open. Tyreek Hill, Byron Prince, those guys are too good. Okay, they're too good. They're going to eat up a cover 3. But Vic Fangio cooked up some nice coverages with, some match zones, not to where you just spot dropping to where you're picking up a receiver. If he comes your way, if he goes out, I'm following him. If he goes up, I'm following him. But if he goes in, I might drop him to the next guy. I think they mixed up the looks because for Mahomes, I haven't looked at the stats, but for him to throw for 184 yards, it has to be the lowest total probably ever against the Broncos since he's been the starter. Right?
Yeah, it was his worst QB rating of his career, basically.
That's what I'm saying. So, I think it was the game plan. I think it was, it was Vic, man. He's an evil genius. And I even said that I don't worry about the game plan with Vic. Mm-hmm. It's just, can we get the guys to, execute, and they did.
Yeah. So what was funny was after the game, I'm listening to the defensive players, and you guys, man, I feel like that defensive side of the locker room has been saying this for years. After game, they come to the podium, and Justin Simmons, and I love Justin Simmons. You love Justin Simmons. You guys had a really cool exchange on Twitter the day when you were backing him up for being the best safety in the league. But he comes to the podium after the game and he says, I don't think we leave this game saying, oh, we did our part. We could have gotten one more takeaway and set up the offense on a shorter field one more time. Those are the things that run through our head. We have to find ways to do a little bit more to win those games. And I'm like, Justin, no, you don't. Like, you guys really did enough in order to win this game. It was just that your offense couldn't back you up. Kareem Jackson basically said the same thing on Monday when he took to the podium. And I know that's the right thing to say. So, Brandon, take off your analyst hat. Put on your Bronco helmet, not necessarily the one you have behind you, but put on your Bronco helmet and tell me what these guys really want to say after the game and what you guys really wanted to say back in 2016 and 2017 when you guys had really good defenses and the offense just simply would not live up to the billing.
Well, look, what we really want to say is that our offense was trash that day and couldn't get it done because we've done enough. We gave the ball back to the offense at good fields. We held the Chiefs to one score, one touchdown, right? So if you can't get it done, trust me, there's a lot of frustration, and we talk amongst each other. We say, yo, our offense is weak. You know what I'm saying? Our offense is weak. It's enigmatic. It can't, I don't even see us going far with this type of offense, and that's the conversation that we have with each other on defense. Now, I will say this, though, okay? It's political, right? You got to play the game because I can't throw my teammates on the bus or my team under the bus. and Justin and Kareem, they're winners, right? I think they're winners, so they're gonna put the onus on themselves. But really, they're just saying that to save face and to try to put it back on us. We can do more, but really, we want to say that the offense needs to do more.
And I don't think anybody would blame them, right? I know nobody's going to do that. I know Justin Simmons and Kareem Jackson, not only they're political, they're just too nice of guys, right, to do it, when the helmet comes off. But, man, nobody would blame them if they were just like, hey, look, I don't know what the hell else you want me to do.
But it'd be turmoil. If they said it, and I know that's like must-see TV, right? That's the clickbait that we need. That's the story that is interesting, But if we say it, then we might get alienated by the team, our teammates, someone on the logo, I'm like, hey, yo, I feel you, But hopefully this way, the management, they're going to get you out of there, man. And so you got to play it on. It's like you got to walk on eggshells in the NFL. It sucks. It sucks because, basketball, they can show more personality and they can say what they really feel. LeBron, they asked him about criticism of Frank Vogel. He said it wasn't really coming with the job, right? And, I mean, we could say that, but I think, in our culture, in the NFL culture, we have to be like, no, Vic's he's doing a hell of a job. And you know what I'm saying? Even though we feel like, oh, yeah. Well, I mean, hey, look at it. Look at our record. Yeah. Oh, it's tough, man. You got to kind of, watch your tongue.
Yeah. I don't blame Justin and Kareem for what they said, but come on, fellas. Like I see what's happening. Everybody else sees what's happening. Good on you for taking to the podium and having that stance. But we feel you.
I think it would be though, if players speaking their mind.
Oh, bro, it would be nuts.
It would be chaos.
It would be nuts because. And here's what happens. I mean, I totally get why Kareem and Justin say those things. And I think that part of them, probably feels that way a little bit like, oh, we could have made a couple more plays and maybe they could have, but that's certainly not what lost them the game. But I think it would be nuts because everybody would run with it. Right? Yeah. Because the headline would be Justin Simmons calls out offense, and then the offense is getting asked about it all week long. Right. And then is there division in the locker room between Teddy Bridgewater in the offense and Justin Simmons at the defense? It would be mayhem. So I get why it doesn't happen.
It would be mayhem, but I mean, it would be entertaining though.
Yeah.
It would be must-see TV.
It would be great for us. Hey, we got to take a timeout. When we come back, we'll talk about that Broncos offense. Did we like the game plan on that side of the ball? And is it time for a certain Broncos backup to now take over as the Broncos starter? We will discuss all that and more next, right here on Upon Further Review with B-Marsh and Michael, presented by WinBet. Welcome back inside Upon Further Review, presented as always by WinBet. Alongside Brandon Marshall, I'm Michael Spencer. B-Marsh, before we continue talking about the Broncos, can we talk about the fit that you had on Sunday on TV in Vegas? Oh, my goodness.
I tried to do a little something. It was a little flashy, but nothing too crazy. So I was like, you know what, let me go ahead and just, throw this on. It's nice. A little floral.
Yeah.
This little floral thing. So,
little red. It certainly popped. I love how you went T-shirt underneath, too.
Yeah.
Brought it all together. Loved it.
Sometimes you got to do that,
Loved it.
Thank you,
I saw that. I was like, I got to bring that up. I saw that on your Instagram stories the other day. That was a slick look. All right, let's talk about the Broncos offense. I actually liked what the Broncos offense brought to the table on Sunday, too. They ran the football a ton. They stuck with the run, despite the fact that they were down double digits late in that game. Which, Brandon, it's interesting. I had been told that was illegal by the Broncos coaching staff and that you couldn't run the football when down double digits late in the football game yet. However, somehow they decided to do it. What did you make of the offensive game plan?
I thought it was pretty well executed. That turnover, that pick six was tough. Another interception was tough. But I thought they did well. And I think the Broncos finally have established an identity. They know they're a run first team with Bridgewater at the helm, and that's okay. Teddy does well under center. He's actually put up pretty good numbers for a quarterback this year for the Denver Broncos. Way better than what Drew Lock would have done, I'm pretty sure. But, they know their identity. They have two bell cow backs, so that is the identity of this team. So even though they were down, they decided, okay, let us not get away from what we do best. Let's run the football, still control the clock, maybe score. Our defense will get some stops. And that was a game. And I'm not mad at that game plan. To be honest, it was just that pick six and the other turnover, man.
It's one of the few times where I can sit here after a game and be like, oh, I actually like the way Pat Shurmur called that game and what they did, because it's what we've been wanting, right? We've been wanting them to run the football. It's interesting that they did it without Melvin Gordon, and that was the game they decided to hand the ball off a bunch. I thought Mike Boone came in and gave them a nice spark when he got his hands on the ball. And now, Brandon, the question becomes, is Javonte Williams, should he be RB1 moving forward? And you and I were talking about this a couple weeks ago, and you liked the dynamic. Yeah. What I'm feeling now is that when Javonte Williams touches the ball, there's the opportunity for more explosive plays than there is when Melvin Gordon has the ball in his hands. And that is leading me to believe that he should be RB1 moving forward and should start to get more touches. I'm not talking about a ton more, but maybe 5 to 8 more touches a game than Melvin does.
I'm going to disagree with you on that. Because I think Melvin Gordon he's a home run hitter, right? More so than Javonte Williams. Now Javonte he runs angry, he breaks tackles, he's going to get that extra, he's almost like the CJ Anderson, maybe a CJ Anderson 2.0 or I see him being better than CJ, because CJ was a bowling ball. He just bounced off him. Javonte can break tackles, he can get to the second level, but Melvin, man, when he gets in the open field, you can't catch him. You can't catch him, and he's still great in the pass game. Is Javonte ready? Yes, he's ready. Should he be RB1 right now? I mean, he should. Technically, he should, because he could, as you proved, he could do it by himself. Mm-hmm. But I think you got to take the miles off his legs, still give them an even amount of touches. That's what I would go for still.
Yeah, I do worry about that from a wear on the tire standpoint, so to speak, and whether or not, I've been worried about Javonte Williams hitting the rookie wall all season long, and that's kind of why previous to this game, I was like, I like the way they're divvying it up. I don't think he's going to hit the wall, or if he does, he's just going to run right through it like he does with tackles.
He's different mentally. You could tell. So, you could tell he has that vet presence to him, that energy. And I've never even been around the team, but just watching him and seeing him, he got that energy like, okay, this is on my shoulders. So I don't see him hitting the wall. And I think he'll continue to get more recognition. And next year, he'll probably go for 1,000. Yeah. I can see it,
Yeah. And I do think that you got to consider that and consider his future too, and maybe not wear him down in his rookie season, because we've seen that, especially at that position, how that can affect guys. One thing I didn't love about the offensive game plan, Brandon, was that I don't think that they're getting the ball to Courtland Sutton, to Jerry Jeudy enough. And I think you've got to find a way moving forward, and Vic Fangio kind of touched on this yesterday, to marry what you did in the run game on Sunday, which I thought was really good, and still have the ability to get those guys involved and get them the ball and allow them to go make plays. I mean, I'm looking at the stats here, and let's see. Courtland Sutton had 2 receptions. He was targeted 6 times. That's not good enough, especially for a guy who you just paid a big contract to. Jerry Jeudy had 4 receptions for 77 yards. A lot of that came late in the game. I don't think they're doing a good enough job of utilizing the explosive playmakers that they have on the outside.
Yeah, and I mean, I definitely agree with you, because I know we spoke about this team having an identity, right? The identity of a run-first team. But if you look at the depth chart, if you look at the roster, we have a plethora of receivers. Yeah. Right? We have really good receivers. So, I mean, for us to not get the ball to Courtland Sutton, who was a Pro Bowl receiver, Jerry Jeudy, who could run any route and shake anybody out their boots, that it's a crime. It's a crime. So we got to figure out a way. I'm not sure if it's a disconnect between the quarterback and the receivers, or, if it's the playbook. But something needs to be done, because those guys are too dynamic to not get the football to.
And to me, it doesn't have to be the deep routes, right? You can get them the ball quickly and then let them go to work, whether it's on a slant, whether it's on Jerry coming across the middle. I mean, there seems to be ways where other teams are getting their playmakers the ball and then letting them go to work afterwards. And so I hope that the Broncos will find a way to do that moving forward and still continue to run the football. Let's jump into our report card. Let's hand out some Braves report card, brought to you by Flock Homes. Smarter rental property ownership starts here. Visit flockhomes.com to learn more. Professor Marshall, who are we handing out grades to today?
I'm going Big Fangio. This game plan against the Chiefs was outstanding, right? Tyreek Hill had 2 catches for 22 yards. Travis Kelce had 3 catches for 27 yards, and he's on my fantasy, so I needed him to go a little. I needed both of those guys to get more yards. I still want the Broncos to win, but like, okay, maybe those guys could do their thing a little bit. But no, Big Fangio, great game plan. It just wasn't enough.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they do all that and they still lose. I'm going to hand out a B to the offensive line for all the reasons that we talked about. I think Javonte Williams was fantastic, but I love the way that offensive line blocked for the most part. I love anytime I see Quinn Miners or Dalton Reisner pulling, I absolutely love that type of action. And I hope that they will continue to do that moving forward. And Quinn Miners, man, this dude, 77, that belly, when he's 10 yards downfield and still blocking, oh my gosh. I love that.
Something. Yes. He might be the future.
Yeah, I think so. I think they got a really good one in Quinn Miners. And crazy to believe, like last year playing Division III football. 2 years ago, they didn't even have a season last year. And so he's a guy who's been out of football for a long time and then comes in from D3 Wisconsin Whitewater and is now learning to play in the NFL and is having a big impact on this Broncos team.
Do you think that he could play, because we got Graham Glasgow, right? We got Dalton Reisner, okay, both of the guard positions.
Yeah.
You feel like he could play center?
I think he could. I think Graham's out.
You think
Graham's out next year?
Then, well, okay.
Yeah, so I think you're going to have Lloyd, Dalton, and Quinn as your 3 inside offensive linemen next season. That's just kind of me peering into the crystal ball. But I think they drafted Quinn with the intention of maybe having him play some center, and then Lloyd kind of cemented that spot for better or for worse. And that's why you're seeing Quinn at guard more. Hey, we got to take another quick break. When we come back, we'll take a trip around the league. Plus, should the Broncos be concerned about the Detroit Lions coming into Mile High on Sunday? I know that's a crazy question to ask, but I'll tell you why that game might not be as easy as you think it is. That's next right here on Upon Further Review with B-Marsh and Michael, presented by WinBet. Welcome back inside Upon Further Review. B-Marsh and Michael, presented as always by WinBet. Alongside my partner Brandon Marshall, I'm Michael Spencer. It is time for us to go around the league. Around the League is brought to you by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on their most exciting lineup ever. Shop NissanUSA.com. B-Marsh, how about that game last night? Monday Night Football, cold, windy, and Bill Belichick said, hats off. I'm just going to pretend like I'm Army or Navy or Air Force. I'm not even going to throw the football.
We don't need to throw the football. This is reminding me of an old school game of smash mouth, old school football, 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends in the game, fullbacks. This was a blast from the past. And I can't believe the Bills knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Drive in and drive out, play in and play out, and they couldn't stop them. And that was the craziest thing to me. The Bills lost a game where the opposing quarterback threw 2 passes. My bad, sorry, completed 2 passes.
Completed 2 passes, yeah. He threw 3. Don't short Mac Jones on that third pass attempt.
And let me tell you something. Right now, they're probably in the defensive meeting right now. Was it about 11 o'clock in Buffalo? And the defensive coordinator is probably going crazy. The D-line coach is probably going crazy. The linebacker coach is going nuts. I'm like, yo, they just lined up and smacked us in the mouth and just said, look, we're more physical than you. Try to stop us. And we didn't answer the bell. So, I mean, I'm sure the coaches are going nuts.
And it's crazy because now the Patriots are sitting there at 9-4 with the rookie quarterback. They're atop the AFC. And all of a sudden, it's like the Twilight Zone, right? It's like you had your year where the Patriots weren't atop the AFC. And now here they are coming into the home stretch of the season. And they've already got a win in Buffalo over the Bills team that everybody thought was going to win the AFC East this year. And now, man, I think Bill Belichick is going to win Coach of the Year. I think that he absolutely should win Coach of the Year. I think it's really impressive what they've done in New England.
Yeah. Okay. So you think he gets it over Cliff Kingsbury?
I think so if they win the AFC.
They have to. I think they have to. I think he has to get Coach of the Year. And because what he's done with this team, and first of all, we need to talk about this defense being the best in the league right now. They're 7-game win streak, and they're shutting people down. I've never, they held Josh Allen to 10 points, and I was watching that last drive. I'm like, okay, Josh Allen's going to score. He's going to run with his legs, or somebody's going to be open. Nobody was open, man. Their defensive game plan, their defense, their strategy, the technique the passion, it's all perfect, man. It's seamless, and it's like, yo, this is the best defense in the league right now. And Bill Belichick deserves a pat on the back.
You know what's crazy about Coach of the Year? Jason Garrett has won Coach of the Year more recently than Bill Belichick has.
When?
Because because here's what happens. Yeah. They just get used to Bill Belichick being the best coach.
Yeah.
And so Coach of the Year often goes to a coach or a team that has like 4 or 5 more wins than they did the year before, and everybody credits the coach for that. And so when Bill's racking up 10, 11, 12 wins every year, everybody's just like, oh, whatever. So I think it's almost like we got to give it to him this year, you know? Like
I think it's, it's warranted. Look
yeah.
what the was at last year without Brady. And he had a down year, so he bounced back with a rookie quarterback. It's not like he went and got a vet, 'cause I know they tried with Cam Newton last year, didn't work. It's not like he tried to go get somebody. He said, all right, I'm just gonna draft this rookie kid and I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna do what's comfortable for him. But our defense, our special teams, and our run game is gonna be elite, and we're gonna win still. And they're winning, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Somebody was talking to me the other day. They're like, when do you think Bill Belichick's going to retire? And I was like, well, he'd love to win one without Tom, since Tom won one without him, right?
I think that's the driving force right now. Yes. That's going to keep him going. And I think he can get it done at some point.
Yeah. Well, and he's pushing 70, but now you got Mac Jones. He's in his rookie season. Yeah. So you got the 5th-year option coming. I think he wants to see that through and see where he can be. I could see him coaching for several more years.
Yeah, and I can see him winning another title.
Yeah.
He probably won't be 3 or 2, like he would if he had Brady, but I think he can win one. He won't win it this year. I'm not seeing it, but he'll win it at some point in the next 4 years. Probably.
Yeah, I could totally see that. Wild. Hey, the other game in the AFC that got a lot of attention was the Ravens and the Steelers. Yeah. Lamar Jackson goes down, leads the on a touchdown drive. They go for 2. Brandon, rather than kick the extra point. Now, Jim Harbaugh said they were dealing with some issues at cornerback. He didn't want to go to overtime and kind of test that out. What did you make of that call there? I actually love the call. Obviously, it's a different story if it's executed differently, but I actually love the call to go for it.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it, man. And that coach he's aggressive, and he believes in his guys. He believes in Lamar Jackson, He lets Lamar decide sometimes if he wants to go for it. And we saw it earlier this year against the Chiefs. He believes in that offense. And so I'm not mad at him. Lamar is a former MVP, and he goes for the throat. That coach goes for the throat. Harbaugh goes for the throat. He said, look, we're going to win this game. He's going to put all his chips in, and I love it. To be honest with you, I'm with you. I love it, man. But, division game, they lost last week. No, actually, they won. He just threw 4 picks. It was just crazy.
Yeah, right.
It's crazy. But, he just said, look, we're going to go for the gusto, and this is a divisional game. We're going to try to get ahead. It didn't work, but, it's not a terrible call at all.
No, I agree with you. And sometimes that happens when you try and go for the throat. You don't get it. You miss. Let's get into our sneak peek. Obviously, another team that got the win this weekend was the Detroit Lions. Our sneak peek brought to you by UC Health with personalized care and locations across Colorado. UC Health is here for you. No matter where your story takes you, UC Health, live extraordinary. So the Lions get the win. They're coming into Mile High, riding high, 110-1. Yeah. I think they might party until Friday, right? After getting that win and finally getting off the schneid. I don't see this game as a walk in the park, Brandon, because this Lions team, they've been competitive. They haven't been winning games prior to Sunday, but they have been competitive, and the Broncos better come out ready to go or they might get slapped around at home.
Yo, actually, I literally told my group chat maybe 5-6 weeks ago. I said, the Lions aren't as bad as we think because they're in every game.
Yes.
It's not like they're just getting blown out for 10 games. No, they're in every game. It's just something happens at the last second and they just have some misfortune, right? So, they're coming in, like you said, they're feeling confident, they're feeling good about themselves. But the question is, if they win this game, does anybody get fired from the Broncos?
If the Lions win the game?
Do you fire somebody or do you say, it's football, it's NFL? Because we'll be 6-7.
You should fire somebody. I mean, they probably won't. They'll probably wait till the end of the year. Yeah. But, imagine it's a tight game. Yeah. Special teams makes a blunder. That ends up leading to a loss. Yeah. You might as well just fire Tom McMahon.
But then who's going to step in as the interim? Well, somebody.
Who cares? But you can come in. Yeah. You can come in for the next couple of weeks.
I got it. Don't worry about it. That's wild.
No, I think the Broncos are favored by like 7.5 in this game. I think that they should win, but I think it's going to be closer than most people expect. I could see it being closer than most people expect, unless the Lions do really just kind of like feel themselves. But I think there's a lot to be said about what they have going on in that locker room right now and how they feel about Dan Campbell, their head coach, and the way that they're responding to him, despite the fact that their season's essentially over. They haven't been mathematically eliminated from the playoffs yet, but that's coming. They're 1-10-1, yet every single Sunday they go out there and fight. I think that's a shout out to the head coach.
And that's the reason you can't fire Dan. I think you got to give him one more year because the team is competitive and it seems like they're willing to run through a brick wall for him. You know, it seems like they love the coach, and he's very passionate. He's very emotional. He loves the game. He wants to win. It's just he's in a terrible culture, right? With a terrible football team, but the Lions are competitive. They're just, it hasn't translated to win. So it's going to be interesting on Sunday. We'll see what happens. I wonder if it'll be like an over. You take the over, you take the under in this game.
I'm thinking it's the under because the Lions are bottom 5 in points per game defensively, but they're also bottom 4 in points per game offensively.
Yeah. No, I would definitely take the under. There's no way I'll take an over in this type of game.
Right.
Jared Goff, he probably gonna throw. So Tam probably gonna get another pick.
Yeah.
Probably throw another pick or two. I'll just give him maybe one pick. But we got to stop the run. Jamal Williams. I think DeAndre Swift should be out. Mm-hmm. That'll help. But I think we should win this game. Not think.
Well, and the Broncos should be able to run the ball too, because the Lions are bottom 5 in rushing yards per game, and so they should be able to run the football. And I feel like if they just follow that game plan they had against the Chiefs in Kansas City, then we could be sitting here talking about a Broncos team that's coming off a win over the Lions. So we will see. B-Marsh, you're going to be there. I'm excited to see the Instagram stories. Hopefully see you in person as well coming up on Sunday.
Yeah, I can't wait to get out there and feel the energy of Mile High, and hopefully it's packed because it's the Lions game. So some guys might sell their tickets. They're like, I'm done, but I still want to feel that energy. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah. Looking forward to that, and hope you have a great trip. And I'm sure that Broncos country going to welcome you back with open arms. Looking forward to that. So, hey, that's going to do it for us here on Upon Further Review with B-Marsh and Michael, presented as always by WinBet for all of us here at CBS4. I'm Michael Spencer. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. We will see you next week right here on CBS in Denver.